Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is Miss Brianne, and welcome to another video of Coding Craze. And this is the coding club that meets once a month during each month that school is in session in order to give detailed demonstrations about the latest coding toys, games, software, and robots that we here have to offer at the Westhampton Free Library, as well as in my own personal collection. Now, I don't know how many of you had view my Coding Fun series, but if you did, you probably remembered that I did a video 2 weeks ago on Introduction to LittleBits. And I going over the basic components of the LittleBits kits, but they're basically electronic circuits that you just snap together with, and they use magnets to snap together without the use of very expensive or dangerous tools, so you could build anything you can think of and you don't even need those tools for it. Now, before we get started, I'm going to give you a little bit about LittleBits. They were created by a young woman named Ayah Bdeir. And she initially created it in 2008 as a small project for a group of New York designers. Eventually, it started to grow. It grew little by little each year, and it actually got launched at Maker Faire 2009, and it won a couple of awards in 2009. It won an award in 2009, the Editor's Choice Award, and also as well as 2011. And eventually, in September of 2011, the LittleBits kits launched for children to use. And they're mainly designed to teach kids about robotics and software and electronics. And it was a way to promote STEAM. And they had, throughout the years, they created many different types of kits. The base kit, the premium kit, the deluxe kit. And we also have the smart home kit. There was also the smart home kit. And it was basically open. You can use these little pieces to create anything you like. And it actually led to opening their own retail store in 2015. And it developed so much popularity, even to the point where it did receive funding. That eventually received funding in 2015 by the DFJ Growth Group. And also in 2013, they also received funding by True Ventures in the Foundry Group, as well as other companies. And eventually, in August 2019, that robot company Sphero, you've heard of many of the Sphero products we have, they purchased the LittleBits company, and now they're the ones who run it. Sadly, the original kits you're unable to get today, but Sphero has many great kits for you to choose from, and they're continuing with that education and the easy to build method of LittleBits. But with that being said, let's move on to the actual LittleBits themselves. Now, LittleBits has a bunch of different kits for you to choose from, ranging from personal at-home use kits to school and classroom kits. Now, I wouldn't recommend the school and classroom kits because those are mainly for school districts to purchase, and they do run very expensive. But I have a couple of personal kits for you to show you today. And like I said, I recently received these a few months ago. And these are from my own personal collection. But the first kit I have is the LittleBits Base Inventor Kit. And the other kit that I'm going to show you in a little bit. Now the Base Inventor Kit it's the kit that provides the very simple LittleBits components for you to use and test out and try out simple circuits before you really go crazy with your ideas. It's a way to test it out. And the next kit I have, which I will show you in a little while, is the Rule Your Room kit. Now this comes with more LittleBits and so many cool ideas for you to create stuff for your room. Like burglar alarms, door alarms, all that different cool stuff. Now I will go over each and every piece in the kit. Well, maybe not each and every one, but let's get started. So, we're going to open up our Base Inventor Kit. Now it comes with simple instructions. Now when you get a kit of your own, follow along in these instructions first thing. It gets you warmed up to the idea of the LittleBits. It also comes with sheets of stickers that you can use to personalize your inventions. It also comes with many different templates that you can use to create inventions. And if you use the app, which I will introduce at a future Coding Craze, you use these templates. It also comes with a couple of pegboards that you can use to hold your circuits in place and arrange them however you like. Something that can hold certain components in place, a little stand. A battery holder with a D-cell battery. You don't really need the battery holder, but it makes it look nicer. And a battery connector that connects the D-cell battery to your power input, to your power component. So now that the basic stuff is out of the way, let me introduce the components that I have for the LittleBits. Now, as I mentioned before, if a LittleBit component is blue, as you can see on the outside here, that means it's a power component. This is absolutely necessary in order for you to run your inventions. Now this is a battery power component. You take this, you use the battery cable, the battery with or without the battery holder, and you connect the battery to the power component. That's how that works. But this is a battery power component. It's the only power component we have in this kit. Now, as I mentioned before, if your components are pink colored, that means it's an input component, which means you have to do something to this component to get something else to happen. This is called a proximity sensor. It detects how near or how far your hand is. If your hand goes near it, that's how your invention works. The further away your hand is, the less your invention works. Like the closer I get, a light brightens up. The further away, the light dims. That's how this proximity sensor works. Another input component we have is a sound trigger. Now, in order for your invention to work, if you use a sound trigger, this component has to hear a sound. It could be music, it could be tapping, it could be any sound you want. Now it's got a little slide. Now it's all pushed all the way here. If you you really have to be loud with this in order for your invention to work if it's this way. The further along you slide it, the more sensitive it gets, so it can pick up even quieter sounds for your invention to work. But that's the sound component. Sound input component. This input component is called a slide dimmer. What it is you control how your invention works with this. If it's to make a light brighter or a buzzer louder, you slide this to the right. To make a light dimmer or a sound quieter, you slide it to the left. But that's how this input component works. It's a slide dimmer. Now, as I mentioned before, if your components are orange, that means they're wire connector components. You use these to connect it to your power and or your input in order for your invention to work. What good is power and input and output without a wire to connect it to? Now these are basic wires. One end connects to the power and or input, the other connects to the output, which is the result of your invention. Now the base invention kit has two of these wire components, but it also has this special connector component called a latch. And what the latch does is it takes your input components and basically turns them into on and off switches, like your slide dimmer. I'm not sure if it works that well with the proximity set. Actually, it could work. It will work with the proximity sensor or the sound trigger, but you really notice it in the button input, which we don't have today, or the dimmers. But this is a special type of connector for that. Now finally, if it's a green component, if your LittleBits kit has a green component, it is called the output component. And output simply means the action that the component performs an action. This is a long LED light component. If you turn on the power, this light lights up. So basically, the light lights up in this component. We also have a buzzer output component. Connected to power, it makes noise. It makes a buzzing noise. And finally, we have something called a servo output component. It's basically a special type of motor. I think it controls something. I gotta do more research on it, but I will let you know in a later time what this actually does. But this is the servo output component. And those are all the components for those are all the components for the LittleBits base Inventor Kit. So with that being said, we are going to put this to the side. So we're going to put the base Inventor Kit to the side for now. And now we are going to focus on the Rule Your Room kit. And this is a special one that you can create touch-activated inventions to control what happens to your stuff in your room. Now, it comes complete with a Rule Your Room invention guide and has all these different ideas for you to choose from, plus more components. So, with that being said, I'm going to introduce you to a few more components that we didn't already go through for the LittleBits. Now it comes with the battery and the battery clip, but it also comes with some alligator clips. And these are what can help you. What help you connect your circuits. You can connect your conductive items to circuits, and I'll explain that in a minute how to do that. Sorry about the computer, but we have another power component. Again, it's a battery component. It's a little bit more simple. It's not quite as fancy as the other one, but it gets the job done. It's another battery connector component. That's your power component that you have in this kit. It comes with another sound trigger. Yeah, it comes with another sound trigger, which is right over here. You know what that does. And it comes with another type of dimmer, which I will show you right here. It almost works like the slide dimmer I showed you, but instead of doing a little slide thing, you just turn the knob this way to dim, this way to bright, and the other way to brighten. So that's the dimmer input component. It helps if you want to take up less space. Now we have a very special connector component called a makey block. Now this connector component helps take conductive items like metals, coins, even bananas, and using the included alligator clips, this helps you connect your conductive items to your invention. Isn't that neat? But that is the makey block. And then finally we have another servo for an output component. We have another buzzer. And we have what's called a bar graph. Now this works very well with the dimmer. You can make each light, you can turn off each individual light with a dimmer or a slide dimmer with the bar graph. But it's just little lights that light up. So basically that is the LittleBits Basic Inventor Kit and the Rule Your Room Kit. Now I'm going to show you really quick how to put together a simple circuit with the base Inventor Kit. And this is the only circuit I'm going to show you today, but I want you to get a feel for how this works. So here's what you do. Here we're going to need we're going to need two things. Actually, we don't need a wire component for this one. In future inventions, the wire and connector components are going to be absolutely necessary. But what I'm going to show, we're going to need a battery. Put this to the side. Going to need a battery. The power component, and the buzzer. Where is it? The buzzer. So what we're going to, oh, and we also need the battery connector. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the battery connector, we are going to connect it to our power supply, or our power component. Then we're going to take the battery and we are going to connect the battery with the cable. So that's part of it. Then we're going to take our output component and connect it to the power supply. So here's a simple circuit. Now when I click on this switch, let's see what happens. And there you have it, a very simple buzzer. See how simple, but look how simple that was to put together. And that's just the beginning, boys and girls. With the base Inventor Kit and the Ruler Your Room Kit and all the other different types of kits that you can purchase, you can create anything with this. Now, if you have this kit, once you finish putting together that simple circuit, you're going to download the LittleBits app. And you select what kits you're using, and it gives you all these different ideas for inventions, and it gives you step-by-step directions on how to put them all together. I strongly recommend, before you create your own inventions, to try those out to get an idea on how certain power components work, Very useful for the Ruler Your Room Kit. I will go over the app with you another time. I'm just going to do something really quick. Alright, so I'm just going to show you something real quick on the computer. So I'm just going to pull the camera over. And over here is what is called the LittleBits Fuse app. Now, before you try it in real life, this is a virtual workstation where it gives you a lot of the components that you see in the LittleBits kits, which you can use to put together. And it's not going to give you all of them, it's just going to give you some of them. And you can even use CodeBit in this to program if it has certain types of connector components. But I'm not going to do a demo today, but it shows you the different, hold on, power components, input components, output components, and connector components. And it even has something called Simulate. With some of the stuff that you can do, like the lights and the buzzers, you can put together a simple circuit and then click Simulate to see if it works before you try it in real life. How cool is that? But in any event, that is it for Sphero LittleBits. I hope that was a great introduction for you. I hope you had fun with this program today and you're thinking of different ideas on what you can do with LittleBits. And like I said, I hope there was a great introduction. But in any event, in next month's Coding Craze, we're going to be using LittleBits to build different types of circuits. Does that sound like fun? Well, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody next month. And you also get a chance to view the LittleBits app next week as well. Well, maybe not. In the later series, you'll have a chance to view the LittleBits app. But I'm looking forward to seeing you boys and girls next month. But until then, take good care of yourselves. Have a great day, and I will see you soon.